Not so steep that I feel like I'm starving myself to death.
Steep enough that you're forcing yourself to eat these massive bowls of egg whites and using every trick in the book in order to curb your appetite. You're essentially starving. Coach Greg, in today's video, Sam is doing a full day of starving himself, and I'm not exaggerating. For some reason, he's back on a very serious cut and is going to start losing all of his muscle. And we all know that Sam, who's abusing performance-enhancing drugs year-round, that he can get away with it. But you, if you follow this diet that Sam is showing you, you're going to, in fact, disappear. And so please don't follow in his footsteps. Now, if he were competing in a bodybuilding competition, I would give him the pass and say, hey, bravo, a lot of this, it actually makes sense. Many of these ideas I've been explaining to you for years. You perhaps have seen my cookbook. You've seen my older videos on how to remain full while in a deficit. Sam, who's already shredded and is 236 pounds, is going to be cutting for the next 6 weeks. He's going to be in a serious calorie deficit in order to lose a large amount of body fat of which he doesn't have. His goal, to get down to a minimum of 232 pounds and or less, and I'm telling you, he's going to get a lot smaller than that. Following this cut, he's then going to go on a winter bulk. Why are we cutting when we're already shredded? In order to just then bulk after that. And so Sam, I don't know what's going on. I do believe that it's the steroids, that it's causing his mind to be a little bit delusional. He has fallen in love with being shredded year-round, like Tristan Lee, and he's no longer doing what he used to do in order to put on all this muscle. You can argue, but yeah, look at his results. Yeah, he's a pro. He's done amazingly well. But is it not possible that he could be doing even better? Pretend you think that Coach Greg knows best, or that you've realized that Coach Greg is right all along. Pretend you're coaching Sam. Would you advise him to cut right now? Would you advise him to do all of this cardio? To eat in a serious deficit, and for what? To later bulk in the winter? He's not competing in 6 weeks. If he had a show in 6 weeks, well, that makes sense. This is just to look shredded in the summer, but yet he never even takes his clothes off. By the end of the video, despite the fact that you're disagreeing with me right now, that you don't think that I make any sense, you're going to be a believer. Stay tuned to find out.
That actually took a second to freaking set up because this guy would love to jump into this bowl of egg whites.
And so Sam is turning into the Coach Greg of old, with the naked skittins, the baby nakeds in the background, the animals, while dieting on egg whites.
Today, my goal is to hit 250 grams of protein, definitely not more than 70 grams of fats, and then 300 grams of carbs. That'll put me at 2650 for the entire day.
Only 300 grams of carbs. He's 236 pounds and he's doing cardio, bike riding, as well as lifting weights. His total calories is 2,650. I know women who eat more than that.
Not so steep that I feel like I'm starving myself to death, but steep enough that it's not like nothing.
Steep enough that you're hindering your ability to put on muscle, which is exactly what you're supposed to be doing in your off season. Steep enough that you're forcing yourself to eat these massive bowls of egg whites and using every trick in the book in order to curb your appetite. You're essentially starving. I believe that Sam now suffers from body dysmorphia and he can no longer handle himself looking at perhaps, say, 15% body fat, which is perfectly healthy.
But I take a big ass tub of liquid egg whites, throw them into this big salad bowl, and then you just microwave the whole thing for like 3-minute increments.
Not worrying about carbs because we have to save that for later because we haven't earned it yet. He's only gotten up and trained arbs followed by doing cardio, and so he doesn't get to eat carbs yet. Frankly, is Sam actually fat? He hasn't earned the right to eat carbs as of yet.
Personally, I'm gonna keep microwaving them for a while. It's just a simpler approach.
This is great eating tips for somebody who's dieting for a bodybuilding competition. But for someone in the off season who's already at perhaps 10% body fat, it makes no sense.
This is 100 grams of protein, 18 grams of fats worth of buffalo sauce, which is a little high for just one meal.
And this meal, it's a little bit too high in fat, but I'll make it through it. 100 grams of protein, only 18 grams of fat, and 0 carbs. For Sam, this is essentially a cheat. That barbecue sauce with 18 grams of fat, well, he probably shouldn't be having that, right? And so this meal had 562 calories. Mepsigram had more than that for breakfast. And she didn't go to the gym and do cardio.
I'm not in a rush to slam my carbs. And for me, if I can go to bed with like a big meal of oatmeal or something.
And so the reason he's not eating any carbs right now, following exercise when his glycogen stores are depleted, of which it's the perfect time to eat some carbs, to replenish his glycogen stores, to have more energy, to feel better during the day. He wants to save it for before bed when you actually don't need all of those carbs. The meal before bed is the least requiring of carbs. How much energy do you need in order to go to sleep? Perhaps the problem is he isn't sponsored by HDLT supplements, although he obviously should be, and he's not using Delta Sleep. If he was on Delta Sleep, 2 or 3 capsules, and Sam is out. He wouldn't need to save all his carbs before bed, of which he says it's going to be some oatmeal, something healthy, when we all know it's going to be a yogurt ice cream bar. I mean, did you really need 18 grams of fat from barbecue sauce? Is that the healthiest form of fats that we can get? Maybe have some avocado, maybe some salmon, maybe some healthy fats. And for dessert, you have one of these.
That ends up being like a big ass bowl of oatmeal with some ground beef on the side. I'm going to sleep like a baby. Well, then that's a W for me.
He didn't even consider GLP Max. Sam, you're in the wrong supplement company if you're not using Coach Greg. Once we announce the amount of stores that we're in, when the world discovers how good, how amazing HDLT supplements actually are, you are going to regret it. You don't need to eat like this. You could be on GLP Max and curb your appetite, go down by 28%. Wouldn't you want to be a 6 out of 10 hunger instead of an 8 out of 10 Sam? And if that isn't enough, now in most cases, I wouldn't suggest a bodybuilder in off season be using these compounds. But for Sam, who clearly doesn't like the way he looks, he wants to get leaner, 236 shredded isn't enough. He needs to be down at least 232. He could go to Algorex. He could purchase something legal. It's a medication that doctors can prescribe. It's called Ozempic and or tirzepatide. If he were to get a GLP, FDA approved from a compounding oh, wait a minute, he already owns a peptide website. And so, Sam, you can go to your own peptide website, the one that you're advertising and so on, and just use your own compounds. Why are we suffering to this extent when we don't have to? I believe that if it's always on your mind, if you're constantly suffering, the food noise, it's going crazy, why would you do that? I mean, obviously, I would prefer if you just get my cookbook, you use my supplements and so on, but, I'm here to help out. And so, Sam, why not just use your own peptides in order to get through all of this? Or is it possible that he's doing it in secret? Sam has never told us his exact cycle. He's never told us he used Tren. He never told us he used testosterone. We're assuming he's not natty. And so why would we assume he's not already on Reta or tirzepatide or Ozempic? We do not know.
I did a fasted lift because it was only arms, so not the most intense in the world. Finished my cardio. I'm already getting close to halfway through the day, and I haven't even really touched my carbs yet.
I mean, this writes itself. He's halfway through the day. He hasn't touched carbs yet. He stated himself, I already did arms. It's not really hard. And I did cardio. Is it not hard because you're not eating, you're not fueling your workouts so that you can actually push yourself to failure and beyond?
You tell me what you think, but I think it's so much easier to skip breakfast than it is to skip dinner.
Why is skipping a meal an option? Does this sound like the advice we would get from Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates? I don't think so.
Wake up, start drinking something, get an energy drink. Caffeine itself has a mild appetite suppressing effect.
Wake up and take some caffeine for the appetite suppressing effect. And so why not just wake up and get Blue Lobster? I mean, I got the blue matching tank. We got the Blue Lobster. You know what it does. Gives you the energy. It's got Salidraside. You're going to feel amazing. Now, personally, I think you should wait and save your caffeine until your workout. But Sam, who's training in the morning, well, by all means. And code Greg for your discount.
Because if it's 6 o'clock and I'm already at 2,300 calories, let's just say I'm screwed. I've got to make 300 calories stretch all the way until tomorrow at like noon, whenever my first meal is.
Or you could just have an extra snack. You could just say, today I'm going to eat 3,000 calories because I'm Sam Sulek and I don't need to be in a 1,000 calorie a day daily deficit. If Sam had said, you know what, I'm going to eat at maintenance, and he said, I'm going to eat 3,150 calories a day, what would you have said? You'd have said that isn't enough. You said, that's going to be a deficit. He's 236 pounds of muscle. He lifts weights and does cardio. You really think he needs to eat only 2,650 calories a day to lose body fat? To lose 4 pounds in 6 weeks? That was his goal. This is too much. Sam needs a coach. He needs Coach Greg.
But if it's 8 o'clock, if it's 7 o'clock, and I've got 1,000 calories left, I've got 1,500, maybe not 1,500, but probably 1,000. Well, then I'm good to go.
Think of it. In his mind, all he's thinking of is, how many calories can I save up for before bed so that I can eat 1,000 to 1,500 calories at night? Out of a 2,650 calorie diet, do you really think you should be saving 1,000 plus calories to eat before bed? I do not agree.
My main goal, as I'm trying to get a little bit leaner before I start my real I guess it's really going to be a winter bulk this year.
Why are we in a deficit when your goal is to bulk up in the winter? Why are we getting ahead of ourselves? Why not just eat at maintenance and skip the winter bulk? Just eat at maintenance. You can put on muscle while remaining at a healthy body fat percentage year round.
By saving my food for later in the day and keeping my eating window typically around like noon to 10, so like a 10-hour window.
Eating windows now? What is going on, Sam? An eating window? Please don't tell me you've succumbed to that.
But this is a very similar situation as before. It's the same bowl, right? It's the same bowl. Normally, this is even like a metal salad mixing bowl.
I mean, are we that lazy at this point? Like, can he not hire a chef? I know he has a wife who's made one of his meals, but can we not get some help around the house? We're eating in the same bowl all day long like a dog? Really?
Every time I eat out of it, also, even just looking at the food, I get the same comment. You're eating like a dog. I don't necessarily understand the analogy.
Sam, this is the analogy. Dogs eat from the same bowl. You're eating from the same bowl. It looks like a big sloppy mess. Dogs eat a big sloppy mess. Many adults prefer to eat a well-presented meal on a large plate, like a Michelin star restaurant with fancy presentation and all that. And considering you're making millions of dollars, why would you not do that? Like, why don't you eat like Coach Greg?
You get to do the cool shit, but you've also got to do the bare bones footwork that isn't very fun. And that's just the way that it works, right? Here's the pyramid.
Okay, that's all fun and dandy and all, but did you ever think it doesn't have to look like a pyramid? It can look like a line. It's straight. And rather than having to do all the things down here in order to get up there, you can always be here. You don't have to suffer and starve yourself in the off season when you're trying to put on muscle. Yes, you're going to have to diet hard when it comes to getting ready for a competition. But when you're not getting ready, life shouldn't be like this. It isn't necessary.
Stairmaster's pretty fucking hard, so if you're doing that, hell yeah. I think I've only done 45 minutes cumulatively. It's fucking hard.
The reason why it's hard is because Sam is used to doing zone 1 cardio on a bike. He's not pushing himself, he's taking his time, and so when he does other forms of cardio, it doesn't translate because he's doing the bare minimum. Now, I'm thankful that he's doing some cardio, that he's riding the bike, that he's encouraging cardio. But he's not doing cardio harder than last time. He's doing the bare bones, the minimum. Considering he's abusing performance-enhancing drugs, he should be doing the maximum to stay healthy. If Sam increases cardio and went harder than last time, perhaps started incorporating zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, his VO2 max, it would go up, and it would predict that he's going to live longer than ever before.
But that's the stuff that's not cool.
Going hard is cool. Going harder than last time is cooler. And so rather than seeing cardio as dreadful or having to sludge it, you should be thinking, I get to do cardio. I get to go hard. Harder than ever before. That is what I want. I'm pushing watts harder than ever before, trying to set PRs. And for what? For fun. And you know what the side benefit of this fun is? I get to live longer.
I mean, it's fun when I do like way back, doing a bulking full day of eating of like Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Wendy's and burgers and just junk and whatever else.
There's a happy medium here. You don't have to go back to the old days where I was making videos saying stop drinking the chocolate milk and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch and all the burgers and the fries and the crazy bulks of 5,000 plus calories. And also, you don't need to have the 2,650 calorie starvation diet. There's somewhere roughly in the middle. Let's call it 3,500 calories. Maintenance, where you're putting on muscle while looking incredible all the friggin' time.
At least for me, because I go back and forth between off-season gaining size and dieting, maintaining size while getting leaner, right? Back and forth, the tide flows.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. The more you cut now, the more you're going to have to bulk later. The more you bulk later, the more you're going to have to cut now. Why not just go somewhere in the middle? Instead of going on a crazy bulk, then having to go on a crazy cut, teeny bulk, teeny cut. You wouldn't have to cut so drastically. You wouldn't be eating egg whites out of a dog bowl 2 meals a day, saving your carbs before midnight.
I'm actually getting a lot better at it now, where I'm not even like struggling not to cheat because it's just not part of the freaking program.
Or he's on a GLP. Perhaps he's not struggling when he walks past those cheat aisles because he's taking a GLP. I mean, doesn't he own some form of a peptide company? And so if you were to get a GLP from somewhere, maybe from your doctor, I don't know where you could go. You could go to Merrick Health. You could compare them to somebody else's place. I don't know. We'll see. Whatever one's cheaper. You wouldn't be as hungry. You wouldn't have the same food noise. It essentially would make dieting easy. Well, perhaps not easy, but easier than last time.
But I want to get leaner because being lean is cool. I saw myself pretty lean in March for these bodybuilding shows, and I kind of want that look again just because I fucking like it. And to do that, I'm eating shit like this.
He's 236 pounds right now. Did he not compete at 228? He's almost as lean as he was when he was preparing for his last competition, and he's trying to get down to 232. What is going on? Are we actually supposed to be in show condition year-round?
Crap ton of mustard, which no calories, so don't worry about it. And then some low-fat mayonnaise.
And so technically, mustard has calories. It's just it calls it 0 on the label because they're allowed to round down. Anything less than 5, they could put a 0. And so you have to realize this. There are things you can learn. If you just put on slabs and slabs of mustard and think that there are no calories, they do in fact add up, although it's not that deep.
I mean, I like doing a deconstructed burger in the same way. 8 ounces of ground beef, half a sleeve of plain rice cakes, mustard, low-fat ketchup, low-fat mayo.
As far as mixing up rice cakes with his meals, why not just have some popcorn? I brought this bowl out because this bowl would be full of popcorn. A couple bags is full. You snack. Popcorn has carbs, a lot of carbs, but it's actually very filling and very low in calories. And so that is one of the hacks that Sam has yet to discover. Imagine if he were to discover all the Coach Greg videos of old. Sam, you could transform your life. Now, add to that, we're going to have a protein ice cream. Remember with the blender, you can put it over your head. All these recipes are, of course, in my cookbook. And you're going to be full. He's eating 3 yogurt ice cream bars before bed. That's 300 calories. He could have had an entire blender full, and it would have tasted better, and it would have had protein.
1,349 calories at 5 o'clock in the evening once I eat this.
And so once he finishes eating this, 1,350 calories. It's 5 o'clock. It's supper time. After supper, 1,350. He's only at approximately 50% of his calories after he finishes supper. This is not enough.
60 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs. Actually, honestly, I'd rather overestimate than underestimate Let's really make that 35 grams of carbs.
A little obsessive, don't you think? There's 20 grams of carbs, but rather than put 20, he's going to round it up to 35 because, well, you just never know. Better to be safe than sorry. Better to starve myself and make sure that I'm losing muscle than potentially eat a little bit more calories and just lose a little bit of body fat. He's not eating enough.
And then protein after this, 235. And I don't actually mind going over on my protein. I certainly recommend a gram per pound, but it can fluctuate.
And so Sam is suggesting, as everyone in the world is, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, here's the thing you need to know. Even if you're way short of that, it's still enough. And if you're way over that, it's still also good. And so as long as you're somewhere in the ballpark of 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, you're good. If you eat 2 grams of protein per pound, it's not going to be bad, and in fact, it's probably going to make you more full and make you easier to stick to your diet. It's just going to be more expensive. If you ate 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight, you're going to gain just as much muscle. There really is no difference. If you lower it to 0.5, you're probably going to gain almost as much muscle. As long as you're eating enough carbs and or fats, aka calories, you don't need to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, here's the thing. If you're in a deficit and you're starving yourself, you're doing a lot of cardio, and you're saving all your calories before bed, and you're not eating several meals a day with divided up protein quantities, then you have to eat more protein because your body, it's running on a deficit, and some of that protein is going to be used for energy. When you're in a deficit and you go for a bike ride, for example, and you're not eating enough protein, some of the protein gets converted to calories so that you can move, perform, work, burn watts, and continue to go about your day. Guys, if you're dieting, protein should be higher. If you're not dieting, aka it's your off season, like Sam's off season, well, you shouldn't need to eat all that much protein. You should be able to get away with less. But Sam's off season involves contest dieting, and we do not know why. Aside from the fact that he probably has body dysmorphia caused by bodybuilding.
And then now I'm going to have 3 of these. 1 gram of fat each. Pretty damn good. Ice cream bar isn't the right word. A yogurt bar.
And so essentially it would be like drinking pop. A yogurt bar is like consuming candies. That is what this is. What I have is a Greek yogurt ice cream bar. A lot healthier, the same amount of fat, way more protein. And so instead of having 3 of those little yogurt ice cream bars, why not have some of my protein ice cream? It's way tastier, much bigger, more filling, more protein, better, everything. But why would I want to do that? I mean, that would be admitting that Coach Greg was right all along.
I've actually got room for a few more carbs. But I think I know where they're going to come from. They're going to come from raw creatine gummies.
Somebody want to tell Sam that creatine gummies essentially are a scam, that they don't actually have the creatine in the gummies, that what they do is they test the creatine gummies initially, but they don't realize how much they degrade. And so although they might have some certificate of analysis saying, hey, we passed, did they really? Not to mention the fact that these can be doctored, that certain companies, I'm not going to name them right here, right now, that they have actually lied deliberately in order to fool you. Remember, I tried to make creatine gummies. Decided not to sell them. Why do you think that is? Because I knew that they were going to degrade, and I didn't want to fool you. You might think, oh, Coach Greg, a steak oil salesman, yet where are my creatine gummies of which I could make millions of dollars? You think I don't like making millions of dollars? And so why wouldn't I have creatine gummies when I know you want to buy them? I tried, wasn't able to make them, and so if HDLT Supplements, who brought to you a Juga Turkistanica authentic from Uzbekistan, and is releasing Ferula Max to the world, going to double your testosterone levels. If we can't make creatine gummies, what makes you think the other companies can?
2,544. 255 grams of protein, 72 grams of fats, 219 grams of carbs.
And so essentially he's on the if it fits your macros diet. He was going to consume oatmeal, which we all know is a fairly healthy meal. And instead of that, some yogurt ice cream bars loaded in sugar before bed to help him sleep because he isn't on Delta Sleep. He's also starving all the time because he's not on GLP Max. He clearly hasn't been going to Algor X, although he might be going through his own peptides, but perhaps they do not work. I do not know. I've never used them. But if you want to get the best peptides in the world, all FDA approved, above board from compounding pharmacies, be sure to use my code GREG. And for all the HCLT supplements, the Turk, Builder Max, and so on, get to the website, code GREG. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algo as in Algo RX. Watch one of the two bloops. And if you want to be sponsored, Sam, if you want to be sponsored, it's okay. It's not too late. You can come to my supplement company. Also, if you want to be an ambassador, if you want to be coach, Sam, also not too late. I can still coach you. Won't hold it against you for waiting this long. And until next time, of course, click the link before next time, and I am out.